Hello everyone and welcome to paper analysis for business economics. So the paper was kind of a moderate, you can say, neither very easy nor very tough. Most of the questions you will find that we have already discussed. Some questions, the number of questions from chapter 10 has been a little more on the current affairs side, all right, and the general knowledge side. So let's take a look, but they have been, pretty number of questions that you can easily solve. Around 60-70 questions you can solve straight from the class notes that we have and we have written, and questions that we have discussed in the class. So let's perform an analysis and find out which are the correct answers. So predominance of bureaucracy and resulting inefficiency and delays may lead to corruption. Red tape is a demerit of. Now you see, red tape, corruption, it happens both in socialist economy and mixed economy. So mixed economy is not given here. Capitalist economy, consumer sovereignty, normative economics is not the answer. So B is the correct answer here. Consumer surplus, we all know consumer surplus given by Alfred Marshall is what the consumers are willing to pay and what they actually pay. That is the difference between MU and price. So what a consumer is ready to pay over what he actually pays, straight away A will be the correct answer. Alright, then which of the following are types of measurement of supply elasticity? It means they're asking you which are the following methods of measuring elasticity of supply. So of course point elasticity is there. Inelasticity is not a method, it's a degree of elasticity. Perfect elasticity is same. So answer will be point elasticity and arc elasticity, that is point both 1 and 3. So D is the answer. Now they've given if the price of a product is 100 units and if the price falls by 20%. So let's say P0 is 100 rupees, rupees 100, and price falls by 20%. So it means the new price will be 80. The quantity demanded increases by 120 units. So new quantity, so old quantity we don't know, Q0 we don't know, so let's consider it as X, and new quantity is 120 more, 120 units more than the previous quantity, so it will be X plus 120. Now if we apply proportionate method formula, they've given that the price elasticity of demand is -1. So can I write here -1, that is the elasticity of demand, is equals to, now we have to apply the formula, Q0 minus Q1 divided by Q0 into P0 divided by P0 minus P1. So Q0 minus Q1, that is X minus X plus 120, sorry. Q0 minus Q1 divided by Q0, that is X, into P0, that is 100, divided by P0 minus P1, that is 100 minus 80, that is 20. So can I write 100 by 20 is 5 times. So this will go 5 times. -1 equals to X minus X, so it's gone, and 120 multiplied by 5, that will be 600 by X. So 600 by X minus 1 is equal to 600 by X. So minus X will be X if it goes here. So here it will be 120. Yeah. So minus X equals to 600. So it means if it's 600, then X plus 600 to the answer will be 720 units. Clear? Got it? Yes or no? Now, other things remaining equal, the demand for a good and the price of its complement has, of course, easy, straightforward answer, inverse relation. Next question, number 6. Which of the following is the effect of non-price discrimination on leftward shift of the demand curve? Demand curve is shifting to the left. So rise in the price of substitute. So if suppose the price of one substitute increases, demand for other substitute will increase, because if the price of Coke increases, then people who are consuming Coke, they will want to prefer Pepsi. So demand for Pepsi will increase. In that case, there will be a rightward shift. So this is not the answer. Rise in the price of complements. Yes, if the price of petrol increases, then the demand for petrol cars will fall down. So it will lead to a leftward shift. So B will be the answer. Increase in number of buyers will lead to rightward shift. Expectation that the price will rise in future, so demand will increase during the current time period. So again, rightward shift. Which of the following is not a correct statement regarding opportunity cost? It's always recorded in the books of account. No, this is wrong. So this is your answer because they've asked you which one is not. Relate to sacrifice alternative, yes. Represents value of foregone opportunity, yes. Is useful in the concept of long-term cost calculation, yes. So A is incorrect. You have to choose the incorrect option. A is the answer. If cross elasticity, if cross price elasticity, it means cross elasticity of price between two products is zero. It means good X and Y cannot be exchanged with one another. The goods are, of course, the goods will be not related at all. Totally unrelated. B is your answer. What does the term entrepreneur in economics refers to? A person combining factors of production, bearing risk and innovating. Schumpeter said that. So that will be the answer. So everybody who owns a land and property is not an entrepreneur. Head of market department is not an entrepreneur. All right. Dash capital performance function in production in a single use and is not available for future reserve. What is it? I've told you circulating capital, working capital, the amount of money that you spend on, let's say, for example, raw material. It is used. Now it has been transformed into finished good. You cannot use that money again. So circulating capital will be the answer. Now let's come back to 11th. The total supply of land is perfectly inelastic. It means E will be equals to 0 from the point of view of economy. It means that supply increases with the increase in demand. No, supply of land is perfectly inelastic, so it will neither increase nor decrease. Its supply is unaffected due to change in demand. Yes, the answer is this one. Market where firms buy resources they need like land, labor are known as factor market because these are factors of production. A curve which shows all different combinations of inputs that can produce same level of output. It means they're talking about input in terms of labor and capital, whatever it is, isocont curve. You covered it in the classroom. Everything up till now that we have studied. Which of the following is the core characteristic of oligopoly? Efficient allocation, no. That happens in a perfect competition. Least advertising, unique product, no. Interdependence between firms, yes. If Domino's launches one pizza, then of course Pizza Hut will follow. If output increases from 60 to 70 units, so they've asked you calculate marginal revenue. We know marginal revenue is change in total revenue divided by change in quantity. So output changes from 70 to 60. So that will be change in output is 10, leading to increase in total revenue from 100 to 120. Change in TR is 20. So 10 by 20, 20 by 10 will be 2 as your answer. 16. In a monopoly, if ATC is greater than AR more than ATC, supernormal profit, AR equals to ATC, normal profit. I told you that ATC AR questions always is asked in the examination. And when AR is less than ATC, you will have losses. Cross elasticity of demand for monopolist, I'm talking about monopoly here. Any other product is, of course, cross elasticity, no substitute is available. So it will be 0 or very small. D will be the answer. Which of the following is not true for long run equilibrium of a perfectly competitive market? Not true, they've asked. Be careful. On the negative side, a lot of questions are asked that this warning I had given you in the classroom as well. All firms in industry are in equilibrium. All firms are earning supernormal profit. Is it possible for any firm to earn supernormal profit in a perfectly competitive market? The answer is no. So B is the answer. A market characterized by small number of large buyers, not large sellers, and is mostly relevant factor to the market. So we know that in an oligopoly, there are small number of large buyers. But if you reverse it, there is small number of large sellers. Rather than that, you have small number of large buyers. Then it changes to oligopsony. So basically, monopsony is a situation in a monopoly. We have learned that there is one seller, single dominant seller, and many buyer. monopsony is just the reverse. There is one buyer, many sellers. So that's the reverse for oligopoly as well. Next, purchase of foreign currency contract at a future rate. Future rate, it means futures contract. There are two types of contracts in the foreign exchange market. One is known as current transaction, another is known as futures transaction, in which forward contracts happen. 20th. A is the answer. Next. Which of the following is not a lagging economic indicator? Unemployment, corporate profit, labor cost per unit. Changes in stock prices will be your answer, is not a lagging indicator. Refer the following data and calculate what? Gross value added market price. So simple core formula was change sales plus change in stock minus intermediate consumption. So sales is 1000, all right, plus change in stock. It means you have to add closing stock minus opening stock. So plus you have 90 minus 100 and then minus intermediate consumption. Intermediate consumption is 440. So minus 440. So what answer do you get in this case? So $550 is your answer in this case. D is your answer. Which of the following is not the characteristic of contraction business cycle? Fall in investment, yes, it does happen during contraction. Fall in employment level, it does happen. They've asked you not. Decrease in input and demand pulls input prices down, yes. Bank credit expand, it means more loans are being taken by the bank. If the economy is going down, why people will want to take loan for any reason? So this is not correct. So D is the answer. Which item is not included when calculating national income using income method? Compensation to employees, we add. Mixed income of self-employed, we add. Rent, we add, which is a part of operating surplus. Interest paid on consumption of loan, no. So this is your answer. C is your answer here. 25th. Calculate real GDP if nominal GDP is 450 and price index is 120. Price index is 120. It means the rate of inflation is 20%. And they've given you nominal GDP you have to calculate. Calculate real GDP if nominal GDP, okay, nominal GDP is given, real GDP you have to calculate. So if this is your nominal GDP, don't you think this is 120%? So iska 100% you have to find out, 100%. So 450 divided by 120 into 100. So that will be 375. C will be your answer. Next. Use the following data to answer question 26 and 27. Particulars given: operating surplus, mixed income of self-employed. Now you see here, they have given operating surplus and they have given rent, interest and profit. Rent, interest and profit together is operating surplus. We have to ignore this because we are taking this. Net indirect taxes, consumption of fixed capital, compensation to employees. So what was the formula? That was compensation to employees plus operating surplus plus mixed income of self-employed plus depreciation. Since at market price we have to add the taxes as well, net indirect taxes. So compensation of employees is 1000 taken. Then operating surplus is 2500 taken. Mixed income of self-employed is 1500 taken. Then you have consumption of fixed capital, that is depreciation, 300 taken. Net indirect taxes we add because we are calculating market price, taken. So what will be the answer in this case? 3500 plus 1500 plus 700. 5700 is your answer. Calculate GDP at factor cost. So GDP at factor cost and GDP at market price, the difference is net indirect taxes, and net indirect taxes is here 400. So 5700 minus 400, if we do, what you will get is 5300 as the answer. Next, operating surplus includes, very simple question, rent plus interest plus profit. So B is the answer, 28. Government redistribution function leads to deadweight losses. Deadweight losses creates a drag on the economy. Why? Because it leads to lower taxes on the rich for the government. No, government taxes are progressive taxes, so it will be higher if your income increases. Emphasis on production of merit goods. No, that's not the reason. It acts as a disincentive to entrepreneurs and work. Yes, if people are given free money, then who will want to work? So C is the answer. Now statement 1 and statement 2, you have to find out which one is correct, incorrect. During recession, the government increases its expenditure. So during recession, government follows expansionary policy. So G, increases and cuts down taxes and decrease taxes. This is correct. We have studied in the classroom. Deficit budgets are expected to stimulate the economic growth, economic activity, while surplus budget tends to slow down. This is also absolutely true. So both statements 1 and 2 are absolutely correct. Which of the following is not one of the three main macroeconomic goals? Macroeconomic goal they're asking you. Universal education for all? No, it's not possible to provide universal education for all. Economic growth, yes, that is. Price stability, inflation, yes. High level of employment, yes. Universal education, no. So this is your answer because they've asked you not. Stagflation, I've told you stagflation is a situation when the economy is suffering from both demand pull and cost push inflation at the same time. So it means there is low growth rate with high rate of inflation, and low growth rate means employment is less. Increased taxes leading to reduced disposable income, no. Economic situation where inflation and unemployment exist side by side, yes, that would be the correct answer. Easy transmission of economic instability from one country to another, no. GST is a, of course, direct question, consumption tax. All right, it's a consumption based tax. Which equation accurately represents expanded version of the equation of change, that is Fisher's equation? So what it was previously, he said that MV is equals to PT. Then he included credit money, supply of credit money, and velocity of credit money. So the equation changed to MV plus M dash V dash equals to PT. So the answer will be option C. Speculative demand for money closely linked to which of the following situations? Speculative demand, whether you talk about Fisher's cash balance approach given by Keynes, or you talk about liquidity preference theory. So there is always, it is due to investment opportunity. D will be the answer. Inverse to the relation interest rate, nominal interest rate. Which of the following is not a channel of monetary policy? Transmission. So saving and investment will be affected when interest rate channel is affected. Cash flow channel, yes, cash flow will also be affected when there is increase or decrease in the interest rate. Exchange rate is there. Open market channel is nothing. All right, open market operation is related to government securities being bought and sold in the market by RBI. Tobin, in his theory of liquidity preference function, framed relationship between which of the following? Rate of interest and the demand for money, and there was an inverse relation. So Tobin and Keynes, they had given very similar concept about interest rate and the demand for money. Given that required reserve is 8% and 12% for every 1 lakh deposited in the banking system, compute credit multiplier. So required reserve is 8%. So what was the formula? Credit multiplier equals to 1 by required reserve. So in this case, they've given required reserve, they've given 8%. This is 8%. And 1 by Here they've given required reserve ratio is 8% and 12%. So required reserve they've given 8%. Credit multiplier. So of course 1 by required reserve, 1 by 8%. What you'll get is 12.5, and when you do 1 by 12.5%, you'll get 8. So that will be the answer. Okay, I thought reverse you have to. Just let me check. Given required reserve is 8%. Okay. Compute credit multiplier. Credit multiplier. It's a very straightforward question. We have solved this also in the classroom. I mean, all the questions we have done. Which of the following is not they've asked you, see how many on the negative side they've asked you the question. Not a benefit of international trade. Provides greater stimulus to innovative services, true hai. Trade provides access to new market, new material, true hai. Underprivileged countries will be less vulnerable to exploitation and corporations operating, no. They will be exploited. C is the answer. Improvement in quality of output, yes, it is also true. Which of the following is a combination of two policy instruments, quotas and tariffs? So it is tariff rate quota. Which of the following represents a technical measure within the non-tariff measures? Non-tariff measures technical hai. Technical is so custom formalities, non-shipping, trade related. These are all related to the processes. So production process will be your answer. So we have studied that non-technical measures is related to the process of export and import, whereas technical measures related to the specific characteristic of the product, how it is made, what are its constituents and everything. Calculate nominal exchange rates considering the following data. Real exchange rate they've given 25, domestic price index and foreign price index they've given. So what was the formula to calculate real exchange rate? We know that real exchange rate RER is equals to nominal exchange rate into domestic price index divided by foreign price index. Correct? So RER they have given 25 equals to nominal exchange rate you have to calculate. Let this be X. Domestic price index they have given 140 and foreign price index they have given as 70. So can we calculate the value for X? So X will be equals to 25 into 25 into 70 divided by 140. So 25 into 70 divided by 140. You will get 12.5 as the answer. 12.5. Now next one. Which initiative of Niti Aayog is a one-stop destination for all information related to electric vehicles? Now you see both Sunya and e-Amrit will create confusion, but it is e-Amrit because it's talking about all information related to electric vehicles. Right? Make in India 2.0 focuses on 15 manufacturing and 12 service sectors. 12 manufacturing and 15 services sectors. This is the correct answer. Which of the following industries is included in the 8 core sectors assessed by the index of industrial production? Of course, coal is the answer. Chapter 10. What's a brownfield investment in a foreign direct investment? FDI, I have told you brownfield investment when investment is done in an already asset which is existing, in expanding it, modernizing it. But when you create a new infrastructure, it is a greenfield investment. Developing new infrastructure, that is greenfield, that is not brownfield. This is greenfield. Utilizing existing infrastructure by means of mergers, acquisitions or leasing, yes, this is brownfield. Which sector accounts for, B is the answer here, which sector accounts for the highest recipient of FDI inflows in India? Of course, it is the service sector. right? Whichever student has shared this paper, he has got many questions correct. Congratulations. Which of the following was not a major reform introduced during 1980? So all these things, industrial delicensing, of course, it picked up after 1991 economic reform. Formation of SEBI, implementation of MODBAT also happened. This currency demonetization, it actually happened in 1978, pre-1980s. All right, so C is your answer. Which of the following is a normative statement? Currency depreciation is given, demonetization, yeah, 1978 it happened. Which of the following is a normative statement? Public health care increases public expenditure. This is the fact. Everything fact, that is a pragmatic approach. Higher interest rates set by government's economic policy will reduce house prices. So again, high interest rate will, I mean, this is again, you're talking about a fact here. If consumers' income drops, consumer will have less money. Again, you're talking about fact here. Government should provide healthcare for all. Should provide, it means suggestion comes. When there is a suggestion, it becomes normative. Next, match the following. Okay. So capitalist economy, socialist economy, and mixed economy. So capitalist economy encourages enterprise and risk taking. Socialist economy, if suppose even if you're confused about it, you have to match command and socialist. It means 2 ka A has to be the answer. Here 1A is the answer. Ye chala gaya. 2A is the answer here. 3A is the answer gone here. 2A is the answer. It means A and B is already gone. Capitalist economy encourages risk taking. So 1 and C. 1C where it is, 3C is here, 1C is here, and 3B. Mixed economy, higher degree of operative efficiency. So D will be your answer. Let me check. 1 is C, 2 is A, 3 is B. Yeah, D is the answer. Which of the following is not covered in microeconomics? Product pricing, factor pricing, they all are micro. General price level and interest rate, that is a macro factor. It will affect the entire economy. Economic condition of a section of people, micro again. Precedence of property rights over human rights. It means money is more important than humans. That happens in a capitalist economy. Next. Even after increase in price, total revenue remains same. It means price increases or price decreases, TR remains constant. Outlay method में हम पढ़े थे ना? Then the demand is unitary elastic. Which of the following is correct expression of arc elasticity? Formula goes P0 plus P1 divided by P0 minus P1 into Q0 plus Q1 divided by Q0 minus Q1. Here instead of P0 P1 they have taken P1 P2. So the answer will be P2 plus P1 P2 minus P1 Q2 minus Q1 Q2. C is the answer here. The product of a price quantity ratio at a particular point on the demand curve, reciprocal of the slope of the demand curve, lower segment of the demand curve divided by upper segment of the demand curve. Specific point they've asked you. So point elasticity. Consider indifference curve shown below. What can you infer about the relationship? What did we know? We have written, studied in detail also, that two indifference curves should never intersect one another. It violates the fundamental core principles of indifference curve. So here, good x and y a perfect substitute. No, perfect substitute में you have a straight line demand indifference curve. X and y are perfect complement, L shaped होगा. Relationship between good x and y is logically absurd. That will be your answer. All right. C is your answer. Next. Again, very easy question. Use the following table, answer the question. Average fixed cost of 3 units. So when output is 0, TC equals to TFC. So it means your TFC is equals to 270. And if they've asked you 3 for 3 units, so AFC is TFC divided by output. So the answer will be 90. Average variable cost of 4 units. So you have to find out average variable cost of 4 units. So it means 4 unit में 610. 610 minus 270. So 610 minus 270. So that will be 340. And 340 divided by 4, when you divide it by 4, you get 85 as the average variable cost. Which of the following is not true with regard to stage of diminishing returns? Diminishing return, it means second stage TP is increasing at a diminishing rate. Total product continues to decrease. No, it happens in the third stage, इसमें negative return होता है. Both marginal product and average product of the variable factor, it means both AP and MP are diminishing but positive. True है. Rational producer will seek to produce within the range of the stage. True hai. By the end of the stage, total product reaches maximum. True hai. Which one is not true? This one is not true. So A is your answer. Which of the following factors does not lead to internal economies? Internal. Specialization of labor, internal. Use of superior technique depends on the business. Use of byproduct depends on the business. Supply of skilled labor depends on the economy. So this is external. All are internal. C, D is your answer. Relationship between input and output when all inputs are changed in the same proportion. You're talking about returns to scale. When all, let's say there is increasing returns to scale, it means we say what? That changes in the output, changes in the input in all proportion lead to more than proportionate increase in output. So same proportion returns to scale. If price elasticity demand is 1, marginal revenue will be, we know that when E is equals to 1, MR will be equals to 0. E greater than 1, MR positive. E less than 1, MR negative. So, and the formula was also what? MR equals to AR into E minus 1 by E. So, E minus 1 by E. So, 1 minus 1 is 0, 0 by 1 is 0, 0 multiplied by R is 0. And so, the answer will be 0. Consider a monopolist selling 2 markets such that at price 60, the elasticity demand in market A is 5. So let's say market A and market B. 60 rupees is the price. And here also price is rupees 60. But elasticity demand is in A is 5. E here is 5 and E here is 6. Calculate marginal revenue in both market, determine which market should receive more output. So it means again calculate marginal revenue to calculate, we know we can apply this formula. Alright, we know that price is equals to AR. MR will be AR is 60 into E minus 1, that is 5 minus 1, 4. E minus 1 by E, that is 4 by 5. So 4 by 5, 12. This is here you will get 48. And in this case, in the other case, you will get same thing, 60 multiplied by, so if you are talking about MR, that is AR is 60, AR into E minus 1, that is 5 minus 1. Sorry, here it is 6 minus 1, 5, E minus 1 by E. So E minus 1, so 5 by 6. That is 300 by 6. So that will be 50. So 48 and 50. MR is more in case of market B. So output in market B should increase. Wherever the MR is more, there should be more output. Which of the following is characteristic is shared by monopoly under monopolistic competition but not perfect competition? Monopoly and monopolistic competition. Price is equal to marginal cost. Supernormal profit in the long run. Price higher than marginal cost. Of course, price higher than marginal cost. AR more than MC. C will be your answer. First degree of price discrimination in monopolist. First degree of price discrimination where the monopolist is very powerful, it takes away entire consumer surplus. So this location, quantity sold, different market related to third degree, individual consumer, he charges different prices. In a kinked demand curve scenario for oligopoly, what happens when a firm raises its price above the prevailing level? Price is increased, others will not follow. Alright. So competitors follow the price raise, no. Demand becomes perfectly elastic, no. Firm loses market share as competitors do not follow, yes. C will be the answer. Kincaid demand, I have mentioned you one question you always get from Kincaid demand hypothesis. The slope of MR and AR for a monopoly firm is that of AR curve. So I'd mentioned this in the classroom as well. If this is your AR, this is the MR, it will divide this area into two equal halves. So the answer will be twice. In which phase of business cycle actual demand stagnate? Now this creates a confusion if your concept is not clear. Stagnates bola, it doesn't tell you it falls down. It says stagnate. It means demand no more increases further. It happens at peak. According to Pigao, modern business activities are based on anticipation, expectations of business community. Direct question. Which will be the impact of equilibrium price? What will be the impact on equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity when demand decreases and supply increases? So you see here, if we draw this, supply, demand, equilibrium price, equilibrium quantity. They're saying demand decrease and supply increases. So let's decrease the demand. So demand decreases, new demand curve, D dash, and supply increases, new supply curve. So it doesn't matter by how much I increase or decrease the supply corresponding to demand. One thing is sure is that price is falling down. Correct? But quantity, you cannot be certain about it. So equilibrium price falls, but the quantity equilibrium is not certain. C will be the answer. Which phase of business cycle is also called downswing? The economy is going down. Direct question. Contraction is your answer. National income of the economy is either consumed or saved equal to easy question. We know that Y equals to C plus I in a two-sector model equals to C plus S. I've told you this is your aggregate demand side, this is your aggregate supply side, and this C plus S consumption savings. So you're talking about the supply, aggregate supply will be your answer. Given the saving function S equals to minus 2 plus 0.5, autonomous investment is 100. What is the consumption? Easy. We know that S is equals to I, and which is equals to given as 100. So can I calculate savings here? Because we now know that savings is 100 because I is equals to S equals to minus 20 plus 0.5 Y. So 0.5 Y is equals to 80. So Y equals to 80 divided by, just hold on. Let me see. Yeah, correct. So 100 equals to minus 20 plus 0.5 Y. So this will be plus 20. 120 hoga. Mistakenly I had written 80 is 0.5 Y. So Y will be 120 divided by 2, that is 240. If income is 240, saving is 100, then consumption will be 140. Which of the following factors of production is not included in calculating national income? Pension of retired workers. Yeah, it's a transfer income. Direct question. If marginal propensity to consume is 6, marginal propensity to import is 0.4, what is the value of foreign trade multiplier? We know foreign trade multiplier. What is the formula? 1 by 1 minus B plus M. So 1 by 1 minus 0.6 plus 0.04. So that will be how much? Let's see. 1 minus 0.6 minus 0.04, that is 0.36. 1 divided by 0.36, that will be 2.77. 2.77 you're getting, no? 1 minus 0.6 is 0.4. Alright, 0.4 minus 0.04, 0.36. So 1 divided by 36. 1 divided by 0.36. So 2.77 is the answer. You're getting 2.27. Just let me check it here. Are we making any mistake? Marginal propensity to consume is 0.6. 1 minus 0.6 minus 0.04. 1 divided by 0.36. 2.77 is the answer. I think there is a misprint or what. So the correct answer is 2.77 here. So there may be some mistakes here. 2.27 why it is given. Oh, sorry. I'm subtracting it. I should be adding it. I'm subtracting it. I've gone crazy. 1 minus 0.6 is 0.4 plus 0.04. That is 0.44. So 1 divided by 0.44. So 1 divided by 0.44. That will be 2.27. Yeah, that is your answer. By mistake, I was deducting this. All right. Because if you deduct, then multiplier will have, it will have positive impact on investment multiplier. If net factor income from abroad is negative, it means what? Net factor income is negative. It means foreign institutions and foreign citizens are earning more in our country and our citizens and our businesses abroad are earning less. In that case, gross domestic will be higher than gross national, or you can say gross national will be more lower than gross domestic. So GNP would be smaller than GDP at market price, because the difference between GDP and GNP is NFIA, golden rule if you remember. All of the following are included in government's final consumption except डिफेंस होता है, एजुकेशन होता है, हेल्थ केयर होता है, पेंशन इज अ ट्रांसफर इनकम नहीं. सो डी इज द आंसर. एंड ऑटोनोमस इंक्रीज इन इंपोर्ट effect on equilibrium income. We know that if import increases, then multiplier will go down because import acts as a leakage. So it will have contractionary effect upon the economy. Which of the following is not listed as a common objective of fiscal policy? Equitable distribution hota hai, maintenance of price stability hota hai, promotion of export and import is a part of foreign trade policy, achievement of maintenance of full employment. We target to try to do that. So C will be the answer because it is a part of foreign trade policy, which comes in India in case every 5 years we get one foreign trade policy. Which of the following is not an example of leakages from income stream? Leakages. So progressive taxation, it acts as a leakages. High liquidity preference, people holding more cash in hand, it will decrease demand, leakage. Demand for imported goods, it will also lead to leakage. Distributed profits of corporation, that is dividends, it is not going to act as a leakage because you are distributing the dividend. So it will increase cash in people's hand. If national account, which of the following is considered economic badge? I've told you economic badge: congestion, law and order problem, water pollution, river pollution. All right, congestion you means traffic congestions and everything. So traffic congestion. Now remember, volunteer services are also excluded, but these are not economic bads. These are considered to be important for, they have positive impact upon society. What is net divisible pool? Of course, net divisible pool is basically the amount of money that is the gross tax revenue that is distributed between the center and the states. Direct question D. Using below mentioned data, answer the question 83 and 84. They've asked you calculate revenue deficits. Very simple. Revenue receipt is 25 crore and expenses on revenue account is 30,000 crores. So that will be 5,000 crore. And calculate budgetary deficit. Budgetary deficit is total expenditure minus total estimated revenue, that will be 6,000 will be the answer here. Direct question. Laissez-faire, it means free from control. Control of what? The government. Minimum government interference in or regular economic activity. Yes. Increase in government having more have of active fiscal policy, increasing taxes. No, these are all not laissez-faire. It will have restrictive effect upon businesses. Next. When RBI uses persuasions to convince bank to hold government securities instead of lending to certain sectors, it is known as moral suasion बोलते हैं इसको. The optimal average money holding is negative function of which? Nominal interest rate. Higher the interest rate, lower will be the bond prices. People will use all of their money to buy bonds. So higher interest rate will lead to higher opportunity cost of holding money. So you'll hold less money in hand. Who is responsible for determining the inflation target for RBI under monetary policy framework? Of course, there is a consultation between the central government and the RBI, wherein RBI will has signed an agreement under the new monetary policy framework to control inflation to a tolerable limit. Which of the following which action does the central bank perform during open market operation introduced high powered money into the economy? So you are introducing high powered money. It means money is pumped into the economy. That happens when you purchase the government security, redemption of the government securities. So it will pump money into the economy. Money multiplier would be larger if which of the following scenarios? Smaller expenditure to deposit? No. Higher currency to deposit ratio? Higher the currency to deposit ratio, lower will be the multiplier. Smaller currency to expenditure? No, there is nothing like this. Smaller currency to deposit ratio? Yes. Remember, currency to deposit ratio has negative relation to the money multiplier and money supply. Right? We have drawn a table as well, and I told you specifically this is very important. Which of the following taxes has not been replaced by goods and services tax? So goods and services tax are indirect taxes. It has subsumed most of the indirect taxes. We know that income tax is not an indirect tax, it's a direct tax. So B is the answer. They've asked you not. How many crops are mandated to receive price support through minimum support price? Again, direct question. The answer is 22 here. In India, public sector is limited to which of the following sectors? It means where they are asking you indirectly that for private investment is not permitted. Railway transportation, yes. Arms and ammunition, no, because privatization has happened there. Railway transportation, yes. Atomic energy, yes. B is the answer. Introduction of prudential norms for accounting in respect of classification of asset, disclosure of income and provision for bad debts in case of commercial banks is related to which of the following reform measure? It is a financial sector reform, monetary and financial sector reform measures it is. Which of the following, because if you talk about capital market there, even the stock exchanges will come, but they're talking about banks here. Which of the following, and banks is a part of money market, alright, which of the following is a unique feature in the growth trajectory of Indian economy? Again, general awareness question, not current affairs. We know, I've told you that structural shift has happened in India, wherein India was to contribute, agriculture used to contribute significant proportion to the GDP of our country, but now it has been changed to service sector. So shift from agriculture to manufacturing, no, this is not the answer. Shift from agriculture to service sector, yes. Approximately 60% approximately we are getting, service to the GDP is contributed to by the service sector. Which of the following currency is often referred to as vehicle currency in the foreign exchange? Vehicle currency are those hard currencies which have higher liquidity and very easily accepted in the global trade. That will be USD, US dollar. What is the primary purpose of countervailing duties? I've told you, trigger price mechanism to cut down the subsidy. So contract low quality of goods, no. Neutralize artificial low prices charged by exporters resulting from export subsidies in their home country, yes. Right. Which, when a foreign investors having no previous experience initiates a FDI in a business which is not related to its existing business in his home country and is usually in the form of joint venture with a foreign operating firm. So it is conglomerate. I've told you vertically similar types of business wherein you are purchasing the factor inputs, business related to factor inputs. Horizontal, similar kind of businesses. Conglomerate, different businesses. Which of the following is not an objective of WTO? To set and enforce rules for international trade, true hai. To maintain secrecy in decision making, no, this is not the objective. Resolve trade dispute, true. To provide forum for negotiating and monitoring further trade liberalization, true. Then state the policy aim to protect domestic producers against foreign competition through issue of tariff quotas. Non-tariff policy instruments is called as, it is known as protectionism. We are trying to protect our economy, protect our domestic producers from the onslaughts of import into the economy. So if you see that most of the questions and the idea related to it we have discussed in the classroom. Many questions have come from the question booklet that I've given you, and also several questions. Approximately you can find that 50 questions straight away you're getting from the quick revision itself and the class notes combined. So I hope you will have scored and you will pass with flying colors. Wish you all the luck. Enjoy yourself for a time being. Bye bye.